Hello, my name is Lesel Reuwsaat, and I'm a professional full-time trapper from western South Dakota. We're going to talk about bobcats today and over the next couple of weeks. This is a high competition animal, guys, that we're after. They have a high value to them, especially out west here. We've got the western beautiful cat that everybody's after. And even though there's a lot of competition, you can still produce numbers. My best year here in South Dakota was 40, and I also picked up another 3 in Wyoming that year, so I had 43 western cats, which is a lot of western cats. The way that is accomplished is running a lot of traps, being in the right locations, and spreading yourself around. You're not over harvesting one area, you're targeting a lot of different areas, and you're pulling cats out of a variety of places. We're going to go over the locations that I'm looking for, that I'm setting, and we're also going to go over how we keep that animal, especially when it comes to public land, guys. You can trap this public land, that's what we're on here today, and you can keep those cats. You can still trap in these areas, you can trap around other people and still come home with them. And we're going to go over those methods, the ideas behind it, and hopefully you pick up some techniques to put extra fur in your shed at the end of the year. All right, guys, here's another spot where I've caught cats over the years. We've got another major drainage coming out of these rocky hills here, and it's a great travel way for these cats. This area typically holds a lot of rabbits, consequently the cats are in here hunting. That's one thing I look for when I'm trapping cats, is I like to have a big cottontail or jackrabbit population, and you typically will find yourself in areas where you have high densities of cats or higher density of cats. The reason for that is we've got a lot of canyons that feed down into this one draw, and then this is kind of a floodplain here where the water passes through in the spring, and they travel this area a lot. There's a lot of deadfall in here. There's a lot of tall grass that consequently holds a lot of rabbits, and rabbits are something that I look for when I'm after cats. I want to have a lot of either cottontails or jackrabbits, and typically you'll find some higher density of cats if you've got a great rabbit population. But as you can tell, this is a spot I use year after year. My old cubby's still here. We'll just clean that out. And then one thing we are going to do here is we're actually going to use a drag here. I have used a earth anchor before, but with cats being so high, there's a fair amount of trapping pressure, and this is public ground. So I'm going to flag this set, and so I want that cat to be able to get out of here once he's been caught, because that flag, if someone else comes in here, is going to draw attention to this location, and I want him to be able to scoot out of here if at all possible, so I can keep him. And as far as a flag goes, guys, all I'm using here is a burlap sack, and it's just a square of burlap on a piece of twine, guys. Pretty simple. It doesn't take very long to cut them out. Just go down to your local farm and fleet store or wherever, you can buy burlap sacks for $1. But what we're going to do is we're going to tie that sack off, or that burlap off up here. And you can tell, you know, it's ideally I would like to have it behind the set, but it's not going to work at this location without doing a bunch of modifying to have it behind the set. But we are going to put our bait and our lure back here, so if we can just get that cat to come over here, you know, with just a little bit of breeze, this is going to bounce around. We'll catch his attention, we'll get him over here, and then we're going to count on our bait and lure to do the rest. And we're going to go ahead and dig out a little bit of a flat spot here, because we want our trap to be bedded in here nice and solid. In solid ground. We don't want the ground to be moving under his feet. So we're going to knock that down here so we got a nice flat spot. And then we're going to use a Freedom brand saber-tooth drag. These things are awesome. The cat is not going to get far from this location taking this behind him, but hopefully he'll get far enough out of the way that if someone does see this and come check it out, that he can get tucked behind a log or something when this finally drags up and stay out of sight. So we're going to take this, we're just going to throw that off over there, then we're going to go ahead and set our trap. We're going to bed this in the ground nice and firm so we got no movement, guys. We don't want this flipping up. and not catching that cat real good. We want a nice pad catch on there. And one thing we've done here by digging this out is you can see that he's kind of got to step up and in. This isn't like we're asking a coyote to step up here. A cat will come in here and he'll step up in here to check this out. Where a coyote, we'd be asking a lot of a coyote to get him to come up in here, up, and then work that cubby. But a cat, he's not as bashful as a coyote. He's going to come in here and he's going to work this set, guys. But we're still going to take some sticks and we're still going to guide that cat to the pan of our trap. And you can tell here there's definitely a couple of different earth anchors in here that I've used over the years. Now we've got that set in there, and we're going to go ahead and cover that trap with the dirt that we kicked up here. And another thing, guys, is you can definitely leave your pan exposed. A cat will still work that. You'll catch them in there, but I still prefer to actually cover my trap. Guess that's the coyote trapper in me. I feel better having it covered, but they'll step in that pan, on that pan, without it being covered. So now we're going to take our cat lure, our Deep Creek winter cat collector here, and we're going to go ahead and take a little bit of that out of the container with the stick here. Just going to put that on the back side of our cubby, and then we're going to take some bait, and we're just going to put a little bit of bait in our hole here. Grab a stick here. Just grab our bait. It doesn't take much, guys, just a little clump of bait. We're going to go ahead and put that in the back of our hole. And then another thing you can do, I don't have any with me here today, is you could put a piece of sheep's wool back in there, or a piece of rabbit fur as an eye attractor. Just make sure you check your state regs to see what your regs are as far as exposed bait goes. With us being back in that hole here in South Dakota, we wouldn't be exposed to airborne raptors, so we would be legal here. But that's something you definitely want to check on your end before you go and put exposed bait out. And another thing, we've got these old cables poking up here. They're actually poking straight up around our trap pan, so it actually guides that cat into there to step on our pan. So it's kind of it looks a little sloppy, but it's just a stick poking out of the ground to them guys, and they're going to come in here, they're going to work this set, and then they're going to get caught, and they're going to go up or down this draw, and they're not going to get very far, but they're going to get away from this flag set before they get hung up, and then you have a better opportunity to keep that animal. So we'll get on down the trail here. All right, guys, we've got ourselves a nice bobcat here. We're actually on January 27th is the date here. We're in the middle of our cat season right now, but what we've captured here is a female bobcat, and this is our breeding stock for the next season. We're actually going to let this animal go for a couple of reasons. We want to, preserve our bobcat population. We've definitely got a good cat population here, but we want to make sure we keep that cat population strong. Secondly, the arrangement that I have here with the landowner is that we only harvest toms here and we let the females go. So we're going to let this female go. This is actually a set where about 3 days before our season started, we caught a big tom right here, and we had to let that go. That's a tough one 3 days before season, but that is what we did. We let that cat go, and now we've caught this female here. We've had a real nice warm-up. As you can tell, she's panting. We're probably about 50 degrees, 55 degrees here today, but we're gonna let this animal go. It's caught by a hind foot, so it gets a little interesting letting them go by a hind foot. I'd much rather let them go by the front foot. And as I've said before, when we let these cats go, guys, we're going to get this noose on their neck. We're not going to get it real tight. We want to leave it somewhat loose, and then we want to pin her down by the back of her head, not the front. If we pin her down by the front, we're going to kill her. And that is not our goal here today. So now we're going to pin her down by the back of her head. So we've got her down by the back of her head. We're going to reach down here and we're going to release this trap on a hind foot, guys. You got to be real careful not to bend that leg backwards. You don't want to break that leg when we're letting them go. We want to make sure she's in good condition when we let her go so she can make a living out there. Now we're going to pin her down again. I'm going to reach. Okay, we've got her foot loose now. Now we're going to go ahead and let her go. And then we're going to encourage her to run down this draw. And guys, this is what a lot of these cats do when you release them, is they just sit here. They don't realize they're free, but we're going to go ahead and give her a nudge and see if we can get her to go. All right, guys, this is just a regular dirt hole set here on an old deer trail, and there's no flagging here. There's no fur or anything. This is just a regular dirt hole set. This is a second cat that's been caught here. So don't think that you have to flag all your sets to catch cats. You don't. Cats will work a dirt hole set just like a coyote. You just got to be in the right areas. We've got this great draw that these cats are feeding out of, and they're heading over to another draw on the other side of the road, and they're the locations you need to look for when you're cat trapping. They're awesome places to catch cats. And secondly, you'll also catch coyotes at this set. That's why we're not flagging it, because we want to catch that coyote as well. But like I said, second cat here, not one coyote yet at this set, just two cats. And so we're going to reset our trap here. And again, make sure we're bedding this firmly in the ground. We'll get some of this nice loose dirt here in there. Pack it in around the jaws. And then we're going to take just a little bit of this grass, and we're going to stick that underneath our pan, and take our waxed dirt, put that over the top, and then we're going to sift over some of this old dirt from this area to blend that in. Now we're going to take and dig out our dirt hole. One thing with cats, guys, you can definitely leave the center of your pan a little further back from the dirt hole. You know, being a foot back, 18 inches back when you're trapping cats, especially if you're fencing them off, is not a bad thing. You'll catch them further back like that. You know, where a coyote, you want it about 9 off of the dirt hole. We're going to take some of my all predator bait here. My label's kind of wore off, but we're going to put that down our dirt hole, wipe that off. And then we are going to use some of my Deep Creek Winter Cat Collector lure here. And we're just going to go ahead and stick this on our rock here. Just a little glob of it there. And now this set's done, guys. And like I said, we've caught 2 cats here. Hopefully we'll catch that big tom that we caught earlier in the season here, and we'll be able to harvest that animal. So we'll get on down the trail. All right, guys, what we've got here is we've got ourselves a kitten female bobcat. And I mean, we're in the heart of bobcat season. We've only got about 10 days of season left, but this cat will really not have a lot of value. My guess is it's only a $75 to $100 cat, and this is a place where I really haven't harvested any cats here, and we're gonna let this female go today. I mean, she is a beautiful animal. She's got really nice spots. I'm gonna try to nudge her up here a little bit. She's got beautiful spots down her sides. I mean, this is a great specimen of a bobcat, but it's just such a young cat. I'd much rather let this animal go and have the opportunity to have the kittens that she's gonna produce to harvest, when they get to be mature animals. I mean, they're beautiful. They do have a value, but at the end of the day, she's just such a small cat. We will release this animal, so we'll let her go. I want to talk about why the set is here. The top of this draw, this is a main draw that runs down to a main river here in South Dakota, and these cats run these main draws up and down to the river and back. And you'll see a lot of sign in these draws on the edges of them, and that's why the set's here. I had this old backbone sitting just like this as backing as an attractant. Last year I had this set here, and I never did catch a bobcat at this particular set on this place, but I did catch a lot of coyotes right here. There's also a dead cow up at the head of the draw, which also helps draw the coyotes and the cats. So it's just it's a great spot to catch the canines, these cats. Like I said, this particular set I have not caught a bobcat here. When I came in and preset this, I did see a bobcat sitting at the head of the draw up here, which was kind of cool, and I really had high expectations of catching one, and we've got one here, but it's not what we're looking for. And so we're going to go ahead and release this cat, and we'll go ahead and redo the set. Jeez. Alright guys, that was kind of a rough release. It didn't go as smooth as they normally do. She was pretty feisty, but she's gone, and hopefully she makes it to the end of season now and doesn't get caught someplace else. There's quite a little ground here where there's no trapping, so there's a real good chance that female cat will make it through the season and produce kittens this spring. So it's a pretty good deal. We're going to go ahead and redo this set, and hopefully have that opportunity to catch a male here. Go ahead and put some wax dirt on top here. We've got some nicer weather coming here in the next couple days, but just in case it sits here for a few days and we get some rain, I want to make sure we got that wax dirt on the ground. I'm going to put a dirt hole in here, and hopefully we can pick up either a cat or a coyote at this location, and we'll go from there. We're going to go ahead and put some of this all predator bait, Extreme Performance all predator bait, down the dirt hole here, and we'll take some of this grass here and put that down the dirt hole like a mouse nest. And then we're going to go ahead and grab our rib cage and set this back up here for backing. That's great eye attracting, guys. We're going to grab my winter cat lure, and we're going to put just a little bit of that on this rib cage here. The jar is almost empty here. Let's put a little glob up there. And now this set's done, guys, and we got a great opportunity here to catch another cat. They're obviously using this location between seeing one here in the fall and then catching one here, we got great odds of getting another one. So look for these kind of spots on your lines when you're cat trapping. If you got big draws like this that narrow out into this flatter country, great opportunities to catch cats. You know, and optimally, you know, in a situation like this, you'd have one on this side, one on the other side of the draw, and then one down in the middle and the bottom, you know, just to cover your bases, so you know that you've got each travel way covered. And find another main trail like this that comes out on the other side, and you'll capture these cats. A piece of equipment I want to talk about that I think is very important to every cat trapper is this catch-all, catch-pull. As you can see, mine's pretty wore out. I need to replace the cable, which the cable is replaceable on these. I just haven't got to it yet. I've had this for a lot of years. It's had a lot of use. And when you're trapping cats, eventually you're going to catch a kitten, or you're going to catch a female that just does not have any value, where you really want to let that animal go. Cats don't reproduce at the rate that coyotes do, so you want to be a little conscious and conservative when harvesting those bobcats. And this catch-all pull is a great tool to release those incidental catches without harming them. So I highly recommend it. It's spring loaded, so the cable will pop after you pull it in. You know, once you get that animal in here and you get them released, you can pop that cable and let the animal go in the direction you want. And just a great tool that I highly recommend that you have, especially if you're trapping cats, because you will come to a point when you need to release an animal. We're going to be putting in a cat set here today, and what we're going to be using is we're going to be using a leg hold on a drag. And what we'll end up doing with this drag, this is a saber-tooth drag. We're going to go ahead and take this drag, and we're just going to go ahead and just pre-loop that around the tree here and try to keep that cat from going very far. I don't think he'll go far anyway when we catch him. And what I've got that drag on 7 feet of chain, and he's just not going to get that saber-tooth very far. They're one heck of a drag. If you haven't used them, they work great. And part of the reason we're going to put this trap in this location, I've seen cat tracks in this draw before, and it's a great funnel way. We've got this creek running through here, and this draw really tightens up right at this location. And we've got 2 sides of the creek, and typically a guy would put a trap on both sides. The other side of the creek, the trail is extremely muddy. We just had a big thaw, and they're probably going to be over here on this drier side. And so we're going to set this trap over here today. We will flag this as a cat set, and we'll just go over this real quick, how we're going to put this trap in. We're going to dig our trap bed, and one thing you need to keep in mind on cats, guys, if you don't want to, you really don't have to cover your trap pan. I still do, you know, because I got the hopes that maybe a coyote will come and work this set as well, because coyotes will sometimes work a flagged set, but not very often. If I put in if I don't cover that trap, I don't have that chance at that coyote. So we're going to go ahead and put some wax dirt down on the bottom, because we do have pretty wet soil conditions. Go ahead and set that trap. We've got our wax dirt in the bottom so we don't freeze down from the bottom up. Now we're going to go ahead and make sure this is bedded nice and firm in the ground, so we don't have any movement. We want to make sure when that cat gets in here, he steps in here nice and solid. We get a good catch. All right, we've got that in there nice and solid. I'm just going to grab a little bit of grass here and put it underneath the pan to make sure we don't have any dirt go under there. I'm going to go ahead and cover that trap. Okay, we've got our trap covered. And you know, coyotes, they'll pay attention a little bit to this chain. Cat, he's not going to care at all. We're going to blend that in a little bit with some leaves, and that'll be just fine. Now here's where we get a little different on a cat versus a coyote, guys. You know, if we were doing a coyote, we'd be doing about 9 inches off the center, you know, 3 inches off to the side. We're going to tuck this one back in here a little bit. We're going to have a good 12 to 18 inches from our dirt hole to that pan. And I know that seems like a long ways, but it's really not. Sometimes you can get those cats to come in and they just won't finish into that set for some reason. Get them back here where they're real comfortable. And I run a lot of my cat sets with that pan quite a ways back from the dirt hole. And we're going to take a pretty healthy glob of that and we're going to put that down our dirt hole. Go ahead and cover that back up, and then we're going to also use some of my Deep Creek winter cat lure. I've had real good success with this lure on cats. And we're going to put this back behind the dirt hole. And that does have a little bit of a skunky odor to it, which works great with those cats. And now we're going to flag this. And this is a pretty simple flag, guys. Anybody can make these at home. These are just chunks of burlap sack with twine tied to them. We're going to tie that off to the branch. And this is important when you're using this burlap. I like to use a piece of 11 gauge wire a lot with a flag on the end of that because it doesn't tangle. If we don't do something with this, you can see it's going to hit this stuff down here and it's going to tangle, and then your flag's not going to work. So we're going to bend some of these branches back out of the way so it doesn't tangle, and we're going to go ahead and tie that in the middle here to help weight it down so it doesn't blow back up into these branches and get tangled up, and then you don't have your flag working, and then for some reason the cat comes by and doesn't smell. Oops, pulled the bottom flag off. That's all right. You know, that cat comes by and doesn't smell your set. You know, if the wind's coming out of the wrong direction and he doesn't smell it, you still want to have that visual attractor there. And I used burlap sacks on cats for the first few years that I was trapping cats. I didn't use a turkey feather, and I had a lot of luck with these. I've caught a lot of cats on just a burlap sack. Pretty simple, real cheap. I mean, you can buy a burlap sack for $1.60, and you can make a lot of flags out of that. And this is as simple as it gets, guys. We've got our set in the ground, and hopefully we catch a cat here. Quick tip for you when you're out here on your trap line, and this goes for coyotes or cats, but especially cats here. One thing you want to keep in consideration is look at your terrain. When we're coming down this canyon, this trail kind of runs north and south here, and you want to be on the sunny side. The sun's coming up on the east. It's baking the west side here. Our targeted species, the cat, he's going to be on the west side. He's going to spend a lot of time on this west side. The ground's clear. It's easier to work in. If we're trapping on this side, we're fighting snow, we're fighting ice, and they're going to be on the sunny side, soaking up the sun. The ground's easier to work in, and we're not fighting snow. So just keep those things in mind. If you can really target your line to be less work. I mean, if you want to trap in the snow, like in this canyon, you're gonna trap on this east side. If you want to trap in good dry conditions, trap on the west side. Today's a bad representation because we don't have a lot of snow right now, but typically speaking, this canyon is full of snow, and you're going to want to be on the west side because it's easy to work over there because the sun is continually cooking the snow off and drying the ground out. So just something to look for on your line. All right, guys, we've got ourselves a pretty nice bobcat here. Unfortunately for us today, these cats are out of season right now. We're getting close, but we're not close enough to actually harvest this animal. So we're going to go ahead and let him go. I had initially set this set here for the anticipation of catching a coyote, not a cat. It is an area where we do have some cats, and we'll harvest cats in this area during our cat season. So this doesn't surprise me here at all, but the nice thing is we will be able to let this animal go. I'm using an offset trap here, so we're not going to have any foot damage on this cat. It's a real nice spotted up animal. The reason we caught this animal in this location is we've got a nice creek here that's running out of some Badland buttes. The Badland buttes are off quite a ways, but these cats do cover a pretty good sized area, so they'll run these cricks in and out of those buttes, and it's just a great spot to look for on your trap line when you're targeting these cats. Fortunately for me, I'm after coyotes at this point in time. Have picked up a couple here this morning already, but this is an unexpected surprise. It's always nice to see them. They're all different. This is a beautiful cat. It's a smaller tom, but it's still a nice sized tom, and with the markings that this cat has, I would harvest this cat during our regular cat season. But being that's not an option today, with it being out of season, we're going to go ahead and let him go. They're really kind of a neat animal. They're pretty boisterous. They make a lot of noise. And okay, we've got him on there where he isn't going to slip off. Now we're just going to pin him down to the ground. Oop, sometimes easier said than done. Now this is what we don't want right here, guys. This cat upside down like this, if I pin him down to the ground, we got a really good chance that we are going to kill this cat. So we got to get him flipped over. There we go, just like that. Now we're going to pin him down by the back of his head. Okay, I dropped my pole there. Was able to get it without that cat getting away. Now, that cat is 100% free. He's out of the trap, and as you can see, he's just sitting here. I don't know if you can see him yet. I'll get him in the camera here in a second if he doesn't take off. But a lot of times when you let these cats go, they just sit there like that. Here's a quick tip for you. You hear guys talk about 3/4 ridge all the time on cats. If you look behind me, it's a heck of a hike up there, but when you get to the baseline of where those cliffs come down, that is an excellent spot to trap cats. I used to hike up there and I would trap cats up there. Due to time constraints with the ground I'm covering now, it's not a spot that I go, but if a guy had a little bit of extra time where he could take that half an hour to run up there with a half a dozen traps, because if you're going to make a hike like that, you want to get a few traps on the ground. But that is a hot spot for cats. It's one of those spots where I'd almost guarantee you're going to catch cats. And also when you get along that base line of those rocks, there's a lot of opportunities up there for snares where they're running that sandy edge along those cliffs, and you'll pick those cats up in those snares. This hill actually, a few years back, I was up here with my boy, and I had my backpack basket on, taking traps up, and I was coming down, and I barrel rolled down that hill and scared the bejeebers out of him. And I'm sure I've still got bait and lure sitting on that side hill someplace. But these are spots that you want to look for on your trap line and take advantage of them. Just make sure when you come into these types of areas, if you're hiking into places like that, that somebody knows where you're at, because there's a great potential for something bad to happen. But the fur is there to catch, so just look for these spots, guys. That, and I'll guarantee you there's no pressure up there. This is another one of those spots that you're going to be looking for on your trap line. These cats love these rocky areas and these sandy areas in front of these cliffs. They run these a lot. We're going to do a blind set here. We're going to do a walkthrough set. We're going to use 2 lag holds on drags. And again, we're using drags here because this is a location that's going to have a lot of traffic. We're not too far from the road, and there's a lot of pressure in the area. There's actually a old earth anchor in the ground here that is not mine, so someone else has actually used this area in the past as well, and we're going to go ahead and set it anyway, just because the probability of catching a cat here is really high. But what we're going to do is we're going to use 2 traps with 2 drags with this walkthrough. We're going to put 1 trap here, and then we're going to put this other trap over here. And the reason we're going to use 2 traps, guys, is we want to make sure that if that cat comes through here, we get him by either 1 foot or 2. Two is fine with me. I prefer to catch him by one because then we have that opportunity to catch another cat at this location with that second trap. I have not had that happen. I've only ever caught one here at a time, but we're going to use this opportunity to potentially catch two cats at this location. So by doing a blind set here, we're just going to tuck our drag up off to the side here, put our chain up over in here. We're going to go ahead and set our trap. And this sand, guys, is super easy to bed in. And another thing we got going for us here at this location, right next to these rocks again, guys, dry dirt. It's always dry. Even when we get snow, this overhang protects this trap. The worst conditions, these traps are going to work over here. It's just an awesome situation to catch cats because we're trapping these cats in the dead of winter when we get a lot of snow, and to be able to have these spots where you can keep your traps working all the time regardless of the weather is pretty cool. So we're going to bed the other one here. Again, we want to bed it nice and firm. We're going to set this drag out front, and again, we're using these saber-tooth drags, guys. Great tool in your arsenal here as far as helping you keep fur. I'm not a huge fan of having to track down my catch after I get it, but they're not going to go far with these, and it's going to get him out of here, and that's what we want. So set that over there. Now we're going to grab a couple of pan covers here. In this fine sand, we can use a pan cover. I'm going to show you this here. This sand is so fine that it's probably going to somewhat go through our screen. And then you can also just take a wad of grass here, guys, and just get some small grass, tuck that underneath your pan so that the dirt doesn't go completely under there. And then we're going to go ahead and bed that in there. And again, we're not going to use waxed dirt here because of the ledge. This chain is not an issue for us. The one thing we are going to do is we are going to direct that cat to step on our pan. And it doesn't take a lot, guys, to make this happen. They're pretty simple animals to focus where you want them. What I don't like here is that cat is probably going to step on that rock if we leave that rock right there, which now we're going to direct him away from our pan. So this rock right here is actually a bad idea. We're going to pull that rock out of here, and we're going to grab a couple of sticks. And we're going to stick those in there, pointing straight up. So now that cat is going to hit our pan on one of those traps. We're going to have that cat sitting here waiting for us. We're not going to flag this again, guys. This is a blind set. But one thing I will do at a walkthrough set like this for cat is I'll take my Deep Creek cat collector lure here, and I will take that and I will put a little bit on the stick right in the middle so they smell that when they're coming through here, and I may be able to hold that cat up here just a little bit and have an extra chance to catch him. But look for these walkthrough sets like this. This is a natural deal here. I didn't put this log here, and you're going to pick fur up at these locations. The bad thing is a walkthrough set, it may take you some time to actually catch that animal here. You could flag this as well, but with the amount of pressure that's in here from other trappers, I'm going to avoid putting a flag up at this location, and we're going to leave it as a blind set. And another thing you can do, you know, to kind of help conceal this a little bit from another trapper, you know, or somebody coming through here, is if you conceal your chain and your drag a little bit to where they can still get it out and run with it. And someone walking in here, if this isn't flagged and they don't see a chain or anything and there's no cubby set here, they're probably just going to walk right on by, guys. So it gives you a great chance to have these traps working for a long time till you catch that animal coming through, and you will catch them coming through these areas. But that's as simple as it gets, guys. No wax dirt, no flag, no cubby. If you can find a natural spot like this, get in here. All you gotta do is walk in, take a peek, nothing in it, take off. Or you walk in here and you notice your drag's missing. Now it's time to hunt for the good stuff. So we'll get on down the trail. One more thing I want to talk about here when we're trapping cats, the way we anchor that trap. It's probably one of the most important things you're going to do on your trap line, especially if you're trapping in timber. One thing you need to remember is cats can climb. They're very proficient climbers, and they are very, very strong animals. All I use when I'm trapping cats are earth anchors, drags, or I'll cable off to a tree or chain off to a tree. I do not use stakes when I'm cat trapping. I'm here to tell you, if you use a stake, you're going to be sorely disappointed at some point in your career of trapping, where you capture that animal and you're going to lose that animal next to a tree, because what happens is he gets caught and he's fighting that trap, and instinctively I think they climb to get out of danger, and they start climbing, and then they're just jacking that stake straight up in the ground. And you got to imagine, if you've got a 24-hour check like most states have, and if you catch him a few hours after you leave, that cat can have 18, 20 hours to sit there and just pump and pump and pump that stake, and he's going to get that stake out of the ground. And it's a lesson I learned the hard way, and it's one of those lessons you only have to learn once. At least I did. And all I use is earth anchors, drags, and cables. And that way you're guaranteed that animal is at that location when you get there. The last thing you want to do after waiting for that cat to come back is lose him because he used a stake and he pumped it out of the ground. So just a word of caution. These aren't very expensive anymore. Wolf fangs are what I use. And drags are a little more costly, but they're all very efficient at keeping that animal at the location versus using a stake. And they're lighter anyway when you're out on your trap line, because you'll find when you're trapping cats, you're doing a lot more walking to get to those great locations where the cats are at. And having earth anchors or drags is a good thing to have with you. So just a tip for you there, do not use a stake when trapping cats, especially if you're in timber. All right, guys, this is one of those spots that I set year after year, and the reason I set this spot for cats every year, and coyotes for that matter, but we're really going to be targeting cats, is that we've got this edge line. And what I mean by edge line here is we've got a crop field down to the south of us here, and we've got the river that actually has a cut bank on it here to the north, and it forces those cats out of the cover to hug this bank, and they'll run this edge of the bank into the cover over here again. These are great spots to target cats. I have real good success on these high cut banks like this because it forces them out. It becomes a little bit more of an issue once the water freezes, because then they can just run the ice, but until the ice freezes, these are awesome, awesome locations to catch cats. So look for a spot like this on your line. And I mean, this hay bale's been here for like 3 years. There's not much left of it now, but we're gonna look in here. I should have a chain or a cable sticking out of the ground in here. There we go. We've actually got somewhat of an old trap bed in there still, and we're going to use the same location again. And then this hay actually acts as our backing at this location, and then we're going to do a little bit of a dirt hole in the back here, and then we're going to run this straw back down around so we can actually create our own cubby here, guys, to narrow that cat into where we want him. And it's not so obvious that a coyote won't work it either, so we still have that opportunity to catch a coyote. When I'm trapping cats, I like to still target those coyotes as well to add fur to the daily catch, because if you don't catch those coyotes along with your cat line, it's hard to be profitable. So this isn't so obvious, that we won't catch a coyote here. We're going to catch coyotes here along with the cats, but it's an awesome cat spot, guys. So we're going to dig out our dirt hole back here, and we're going to dig a fairly large dirt hole here. We want some eye appeal for that cat when it comes along. Not only do we want the scent from our dirt hole, but we want some eye appeal. We want them to think that, oh man, there's a nice big hole. What's in there? There's some great scent coming out of there. So we've got our fairly nice dirt hole there. We're going to go ahead and take our trap, find the end of this chain. One thing I will caution, when you're using old chain or cable in the ground from the prior year, make sure that you're giving that good tug to see that you still have the strength, especially if it's cable, guys, because cable will sometimes rot in the ground. The last thing you want is that catch that animal that you're targeting and then him to break that cable off because it's rotten. I actually went to a larger diameter cable to actually have it last a little longer. So we're going to go ahead and set our trap here. I'm going to bed that in there. Make sure it's in there nice and solid. We'll grab a little bit of this duff here. Don't want any big debris. And we're going to put that underneath our pan. And now we're going to grab our sifter. Grab some of this dirt and sift it over our pan. And you know, if we were just targeting the cat, you know, we wouldn't even have to cover that pan. That cat will come in, he'll step on that pan without it being covered. But we do want to increase our odds a little bit of catching a coyote here. And we're going to narrow this down a little bit with some of this debris. We're going to direct that cat where we want him to stick his paw. So now that's done. We've got our stepping in there. We've got our dirt hole. Now all we got to do is bait this deal. And we're going to use our all predator bait again. It's a nice strong bait, and the cats will work this just as well as anything else. So we got our bait down the dirt hole. We're going to take our stick, shove that back in there. Now we're going to use my Deep Creek winter cat collector here, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to put that on the back side of the dirt hole up in the straw here. And then what that'll do is, along with when the river starts to freeze, hopefully we can get that lure to carry a little bit out over on that ice and maybe call some of those animals up off the ice and get them up here to work this set. Because believe it or not, those cats hunt with their nose, guys. Not everything with a cat is eye appeal. You'll catch a lot of these cats in dirt hole sets just like this without a flag. So don't pass these up. Take the opportunity to set these kind of areas, especially these cut banks, guys. I'm telling you, these high cut banks are awesome places to catch cats. Statistically, there are places that you're going to catch more fur than others, where you're more apt to catch more fur. Here we've got a creek that's running through open country. This is where they're going to be. This is where the cover's at. We don't want to be in that open country. If you had coyote sets out there, that's great, but the probability is that cat's going to be in this cover because that's where they're traveling, and that's where you want to be. I'm not saying don't put sets out in the wide open, because I do catch a lot of cats in the wide open, but the probability is that cat's going to be in the cover. He's going to be in the bottom of the drainage. He's going to be in the rim rock. He's going to be in the creeks. He's going to be on the edge of the river. He's going to run the ice. That's where that cat's going to be. Put yourself on location to catch those cats, but I just want you to be aware that it is not a high volume a thing we're doing here. What we're doing takes time to put numbers up. And I'm going to reference again, you know, my biggest year on cats was 43, and that was in 60 days. So I'm not catching a cat every day. In the year I caught 43, there was actually a day where I caught 7 cats. And I've not done that again where I've caught 7 cats, but that just kind of gives you a parameter as to how it actually goes when you're putting up those big numbers. So don't think you're going to go out and catch cats every single day, because you're probably not going to, at least not in the West. Maybe down south you've got a better opportunity of doing that, but out in the West with these Western cats, it takes time, and I just want you to be aware it's not that you're doing something wrong. it's just going to take time. Be confident in the skills that you have. Hopefully you pick up some techniques and skills from this video that are going to help you on your trap line, but be confident and persistent in what you're doing, and that's when the cats will come. And that's probably one of the more important pieces of advice I have for you, is just be persistent and confident in what you're doing, and the cats will come. And the first few are the hardest ones, and then you get more confidence in where you're at, where you're setting your traps, that you're picking the terrain apart correctly, and it'll just get easier and easier for you. But make sure you're on location, the best location you have for your area, and you'll catch those cats. All right, guys, we're going to talk about this spot here real quick. This is a spot that I've caught a lot of cats in, and as you can tell, we've got the road right here, and this is actually a dead-end spot on the road. You have to turn around right here, so there's a lot of visibility to this spot right here, and we're trapping these high-dollar western cats. So part of that is we've got to catch that cat, and then we have to keep that cat. And I'm going to show you how I've done that over the years at this spot. Like I said, I've caught quite a few cats here, and I've never had one stole at this location. This is public access here, and we've got this drainage that runs down through here, and we're going to trap against this wall behind us, and we'll show you a video of that here in just a second. But what we're going to do is we're going to use this drainage to hide that cat. And at this particular location, I just use a log as the drag to catch that cat and hold him here. And what he does after he gets caught is he pulls that log down into these rocks, and then he gets stuck. He can't go any further, and it drops him out of sight. This is a spot where I will not flag it. I cannot afford to draw any attention to this location. If we flag it, when the individual gets up here on the end of this road and has to turn around, he's going to see that flag blowing in the wind, and they're going to know we've got a set there, and we want to conceal that set so we don't flag it. It's just a natural spot that these cats hunt and travel in, and it's also a sandy spot. When I'm after cats in this type of location, I'm looking for those nice sandy spots where they can use it as a litter box, and it's a great place to target cats. And we'll go through this set here now. All right, guys, this is the log I'm tying the trap off to, and we're going to bed the trap right here in the sand. And then I've got this log placed in front of this log, which will conceal this cat. If for some reason he just gets caught and someone's coming down this trail, he'll be somewhat concealed from the road. But after he starts fighting it, he is going to drag this log off into this bottom, and he'll be concealed, and no one will know he's here. It looks like they're, fairly big logs, and he's not going to be able to get them moved, but trust me, these logs will be on that bottom when the cat gets caught. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take our trap. I've already got a J-hook attached to it, and we're going to tie that off to this log here. We'll go ahead and crimp that on. And guys, we're trapping cats. The chains can be exposed. They can be visible to the cat. He can see it. He's not going to stand off from it. So it's not going to look particularly neat. We're not trapping coyotes here. We're trapping cats. So with this overhang, another thing I want to talk about that's really nice here, this canyon holds a lot of snow and a lot of moisture in the wintertime. This sand is perfectly dry, and the ground out here is froze like a rock. So with that, we don't have to use waxed dirt here, which is a cost savings for us, and there's always dry dirt here for us to use. So we're going to go ahead and set our trap. We're going to bed that in the center here, and like I said, our chain is going to be exposed here on the one side, and we're going to tighten this up a little bit here, and then we're going to take our stepping stick and we're going to go ahead and leave this up a little bit so he has to step over and down. We want him over and down. We don't want just a soft stick sitting like this. I've seen too many times if you If you use a stick where you just lay it down, they'll step on this, they'll step over, and you'll miss them. We want to guide that cat right to our pan. And with a cat, we can do that, guys. We're going to put that up like that. Grab a couple other little sticks here. Stick them up. Now we're going to put one in the back. And when you're using sticks, guys, make sure that you're putting those sticks down in the ground, that you're covering them so they don't blow in over your pan. And now we're going to go ahead and take a pan cover. Cover our pan. Go ahead and grab our sifter from our sifter. And then we're going to go ahead and cover our trap. Now we're completely blended in there. We will take a little stick just to cover up our chain just a little bit, even though with a cat it really doesn't matter, guys. They're not going to pay any mind to that. And you're going to notice our dirt hole is quite a ways back here. And that's by design. I don't want that dirt hole right up to the pan here. We're not trapping coyotes, guys. You know, if we were trapping coyotes, we'd want to be back 9 off 3, and that's how we would want that trap in there. But we want it further back with a cat. Sometimes that cat will come in and he just won't finish all the way into that dirt hole. So we want it back further where we've got his curiosity back here, and that's where we're going to get him. Now we're going to take my all predator bait. I use this on coyotes, badgers, fox, coon, everything. It works great on cats as well. And we're going to go ahead and take my trowel here, and we're going to grab a little bit of that. And it doesn't take a lot, guys. And we're going to put that in our dirt hole. And now we're going to take, we got some colder weather coming here, so we're actually going to use my Deep Creek winter cat collector here. And we're going to put that back here on the top of the dirt hole. And now, guys, this set's done. And like I said, normally I would really like to flag a cat set. But in this situation where we're fighting the road right there, guys, you can't flag it. And these cats hunt with their nose, just like they hunt with their eyes. And you're going to pick those cats up here. This is a set where I pick them up again and again and again. And you'll notice this big rock cliff that we're trapping along the edge of here. They really like these areas. They travel them a lot. They hunt in here. They bed in here. They'll bed, you know, midway up these ridges or on the tops. They travel the bottoms. Look for these types of areas, especially with this major drainage coming down through here. High probability of catching a cat here. And so we're going to go ahead and get on down the trail and put some more sets in and hopefully have a critter. I got a quick tip for you here. When you're looking for areas to trap cats, we talk about making sure you're in cats to catch cats. Use your DNR or your game and fish to capture that information. Typically when you harvest cats, you have to report by county where you're catching those animals, and that information is available to you as a sportsman. And get those reports from your DNR, the game and fish. Look at them and see what counties are close to you, so you know where to trap cats. You don't want to go to the county where they only caught 10 cats. You want to go to the county where they caught 40. But another thing to keep in mind is the county where they caught 40 obviously has trapping pressure, where maybe the county where they caught 10 is a little more obsolete, out of the way, harder to get to. Maybe that's the place you want to go, but that's something you're going to have to decide. But that's a resource that is readily available for you to utilize to figure out where you're going in your state to trap cats. And then once you figure out what county you're going to trap cats in, or what township you're going to trap cats in, now get on Google Earth and look at that county from up above. Pick that terrain apart. Find the creeks, find the rim rocks, find the sagebrush, find the swamps. These are all areas that those cats are going to frequent, that they're going to live in. And do your footwork before you hit the ground, and your life will be a whole lot easier, and you're going to be that much more capable of catching cats. So those are a couple things you can look at and utilize to capture more animals. We've got another spot that I set year after year and produces cats. So we're in an old dried out creek bottom here. It's been dry for quite a while now. Typically only get water in here when this floods, and as you can tell, we got a couple years of pine needles on the ground here. But one thing I want to talk about, especially in creek bottoms, especially this isn't a creek bottom with water, but when we're talking about creek bottoms with water, we also have a lot of other species of animals that are frequenting those areas that will work a cat set. You know, a fenced off, V'd down cat set, a coyote doesn't typically work. You will catch some pups in sets like that, but badgers, coons, skunks, porcupines, these are all animals that are going to plug up a cat set. And when you're trapping cats and you know you're in cats, it gets discouraging to find these animals in your traps. I mean, they add to the bottom line at the end of the year, but when you're in cats, you want to be catching cats. So how do you alleviate that? You really can't, guys. But the one thing you can do, when I go into a creek, I'm getting on one bank, the other bank, and in the bottom. Every place I put a trap in a creek, I'm putting 3 traps in for cats when I know I'm around water, because I have so many other animals that are going to frequent those sets. So you don't want to miss those opportunities because you only have one trap in the ground. For me, when I'm cat trapping and I'm trying to put up numbers, it's a lot of sets in the ground. When you go in and you put one trap on the ground, you're putting 3 traps in. It takes time. It takes time to keep them working. It takes time to put them down. It takes a lot of time. So make sure that you're putting more than one set in at each location. One other thing I want to mention, especially down on the creeks, when you know you're in cats, don't sell yourself short by just using leg holds. You can also snare for those cats and pick up a lot of cats in those snares. So make sure that you've got those in your arsenal, you're familiar with how to use them, and you're using those on your trap line. They'll add a lot of fur. You also pick up those incidental coyotes and fox that add to the bottom line at the end of the year. But today in this location, we don't have a great trail through here to set any snares, so we're not going to set any snares at this location. But we are going to use this drag, and we're just going to toss that off to the side. We're going to go ahead and dig our trap bed. Another reason for drags in this environment is we got a lot of rocks in this soil, and it takes quite a bit to get those earth anchors in the ground here, so drags are a great option for you here. So go ahead and set our trap. And again, guys, here, our dirt hole is going to go back here. So as you can see, we're quite a ways away from that dirt hole. And this isn't like a cat set here, guys, or a coyote set where we need a super deep dirt hole. We actually want some type of eye appeal here for them, so we're not going to go super deep with the dirt hole. So with that said, we're going to grab some dirt from this side hill back here, which is nice and dry. We're going to stick our pan cover over our trap. Now we're going to work at bedding that trap in there. I didn't have any loose dirt to bed that trap down in there, so now we've got some loose dirt we can pack around the sides to make sure we're in there nice and firm. We'll go ahead and grab some more dirt. Alright, these are things we want to look for when we're sifting dirt over our trap. This stick right here could be a catastrophe for us. If we didn't move that stick off our pan, we just in turn guided that cat not to step there. It's just simple things to look for. I know for me, I'm in a hurry all the time. I'm trying to get on to the next set, but you can't miss the little things like that. You miss the little things like that, you're gonna miss the animal you're after. So now we've got our trap bedded, we've got it covered. We're back to our sticks, guys. We're just gonna take a couple of those, stick them up. So we guide that cat where we want him to put his foot. We're going to grab another branch here. We're going to narrow that cat down. And it's kind of a sloppy stick. It's not real firm. He's not going to step on that and come in here. One thing I do fear a little here is that cat will come through here and step on this. But if you look, we got enough debris over there that this is the open lane. We want to make our lane coming into this set open. We want to encourage him to come this way because a cat is not opposed to coming in from the side, stepping on the log, just checking it out, and not coming in. So make sure you make this the appealing track or trail coming into your set. That's not appealing. He's got to go through a bunch of debris to get in here. Make it appealing, make it open. You know, you got grass like this sticking over your pan, get that out of there. Make sure your pan is clear. As we've got this brush over here, and when I'm saying give them a clear trail to the set, that's the path of least resistance, which right now, this is the path of least resistance, guys. Get these pine cones out of here. Make it so it's easy for him to walk. A cat ain't gonna want to step on pine cones when he comes in. You want him to be comfortable coming in here to where this is the path of least resistance, and we've accomplished that with what we've done here right now. We've got this stick with branches poking up off of it. We've got these sticks poking up over here. He's not going to come in over here. He's going to come in right here. We got these pine cones piled up right here. There's no pine cones in his path coming in. It's the path of least resistance. They're like you and I when we're walking around. It's the path of least resistance they're going to take to come into this set. They're not a cautious animal, guys. So capitalize on that. Now we got our flags. We're going to flag this set right here. And this is how I like to have a flag. I like to have it actually behind the pan, which we're not a long ways behind the pan, but we're behind the pan. And the other thing we're trying to accomplish here is visibility. You got to keep in mind that cat's walking around at this height. We want him to be able to see this blowing in the wind. Don't set it too high, but don't set it too low, because we also want to get that visibility from across the other side. We want that cat to be able to see it. So, you know, this is where it's different from a coyote to a cat. A coyote, you got to be relatively close as far as your scent will travel. Here, we've got the added benefit of a flag, so we can actually go beyond our lure and our bait and still draw that cat in to capture him here. So take advantage of that. You know, you definitely flag if you can. So another thing, we're gonna bait this real quick. Got to give him something to come in here. You know, once he sees the flag, we got to give him something to come in and work. You know, we want him to think that he's gonna get something to eat. So we're gonna put our bait down the hole here. We've got my all predator bait here. Now we're gonna take my Deep Creek cat collector lure, and we're gonna actually put this up a little bit higher here above the dirt hole. We'll just put it on the end of that stick. Just stick the stick in there, and now this set's ready to go, and that's all it takes. Quick funny story for you. I had when you're using drags, you need to be aware. Cats climb, guys. I had come up to a set and my trap is missing. I actually had a friend with me, and we started circling looking for that cat, and we could not find it. Absolutely could not find that cat. And you know, after about a half an hour looking, I come back to the tree and I'm looking at that tree. What that cat did is he climbed up that tree. He was stuck up in the tree with that drag on him. So when you catch one, I always look up first if that drag's missing. You know, that's a hard lesson learned. Spent a lot of time looking for that animal. And then the next adventure, of course, was getting a cat out of a tree. But no fireman to call on that one. Just me and my climbing shoes, I guess. But so always look up when you catch one. And and go from there. But this is a simple set, guys. You don't have to get real complex. Don't build it up real tall. You don't have to go to those extremes to catch these cats. This is as simple as it gets. You don't have to get extravagant. Don't take the time you don't have to. And we'll go ahead and get on down the trail here. All right, guys, one thing I want to talk about here real quick. You've seen me release cats before, and how careful you got to be when you're releasing those cats so you don't choke them down and kill them. We're going to use this choke pull today to harvest this cat, and it's an extremely effective, humane, quick method of harvesting a bobcat, and it keeps the hide nice and clean versus having blood on it. So definitely look at one of these catch pulls when you're looking at harvesting cats or having to release them. They're a great piece of equipment. As you can see, mine has had a lot of use. There's been a lot of cats on the end of this pole, whether it's a harvested cat or a released cat, and I do need to rebuild my cable on the end, but just a great tool. This thing's got to be about 10 years old, I'm guessing, and just a great piece of equipment. It's been it's been run over, it's been forgotten, and we're going to go ahead and get this noose over this cat's head, and then we're going to just tighten that up. And then once I get that on there, this is where I like to have them flipped upside down. Get that cable nice and taut. We're going to push this pole down as hard as we can to close those veins on the side of his neck. So now we're going to release the foot out of the trap here. The trap we were using today was a MB550. Nice trap, does the job well. And here's our animal. And when I'm talking about big cats, this is a big cat. I'm 6 foot tall, 6'1" right in there, and that's a big cat. When we're looking at cats, we want a cat that's going to stretch over 40 inches from the nose to the base of the tail, and this guy is going to do that easily. And when we're looking at our belly here, we want a nice white belly with lots of black spots in there. We got quite a few black spots in this cat. And then when I'm talking about a belly that shallows out, it's through this area right here. This orange will creep in and you'll orange out through here in the belly, and this cat doesn't do that at all. He's white all the way down. This is what you're after when you're trapping those western cats. This is a high dollar cat here. Nice to see, tickled pink to have him. We did release a cat up here. Oh, it probably, as the crow flies, I'm assuming a half a mile or better, maybe not much more than that, just up the way here. That was about 2 weeks ago. It was actually 3 days before season. Had caught it was a big tom caught up here, and he was out of season, and it was so close to harvest time. But we let that animal go, and I was thinking that this may be that same animal, because that was a big tom as well. But there's no marking on the pad here or on the top of the foot where it had been caught before, because you'll be able to see that old catch on the top of the foot. So there's another big tom in this area, and maybe we'll have a shot at him here as time goes on, especially if we've got that female in the area here. And we definitely want to keep her around to continue to draw these big toms in. So now we're going to go ahead and do the remake at this location. All right, now guys, we're going to redo this set now, and we've got our cat over here, and as you can see, here's my flag. When you're trapping cats, guys, flags are real important. You don't have to have them. but they do help a lot as far as getting their attention and keeping their attention to work your set. My biggest years of catching cats, over half of my cats were caught without flags, so you can definitely catch them without a flag. Cats do hunt with their nose a lot. They're not only sight, they definitely hunt with their nose just like a coyote, and they have an extremely good nose when it comes to finding dirt holes. So you don't have to flag a set. I do encourage you, if you are specifically targeting cats, to flag your sets with either a flag like this with a turkey feather, or chunks of burlap sack, like 6-inch squares or 4-inch squares on a piece of twine, work great as well. So I am a fan of flagging a cat set, but don't dismiss your dirt hole sets, guys. You'll catch a lot of cats in dirt holes, just like a coyote. One thing we're not going to worry about with the cat is a scent. They're not overly concerned with scent. We've got, looks like something you must have threw up here. We'll use that again as well. But cats don't have to be concerned with scent a lot, or at all, to be honest. But we're going to go ahead and reset our trap. We've got an existing dirt hole here, or not dirt hole, but trap bed from the last one. We'll just clean that out a little bit. And in my bait bucket here, I've also got my dry dirt in here. I've got an extra flag in case this one would have been tore down. We've got a flag. I've got my Extreme All Predator bait. That's what this animal was caught on, along with my Deep Creek winter cat collector here. This is something that I've used for several years. When I first started trapping cats, this is all I used. I didn't even use bait along with it. I do find I have more success with the bait and the lure combined. Just a couple of different attractants to get them in here to work the set. So we're going to go ahead and take some of our wax dirt, and we're going to put that down in the bottom of our trap bed so we don't have a freeze down from the bottom up. We're going to go ahead and bed our trap here so we don't have any dirt under our pan. And then we've got our chain over here and our cable, and if we were trapping coyotes, we'd be concerned about hiding that. But with trapping cats, we're not going to be concerned about that at all. It doesn't bother them at all. So we're going to just set that up behind the trap here. Now I've got a piece of toilet paper I'm using for a pan cover here. We're going to go ahead and put that over our pan. We're going to drop some dirt over our trap and just spread that out a little bit. And guys, you can catch cats without covering your trap as well. They'll step on that. I'm still a fan of covering my trap. With all the coyotes I catch, it's kind of hard to get out of that frame of mind of covering your trap. And now we're going to do something that's real important here. We would never do this with the coyote. The coyote's going to come in and he's going to look back here off about 10 feet. And he's going to check this set out from there. But he's not going to come in and finish, and we're not going to catch coyotes here. Maybe a pup from time to time, but an adult coyote, he's not going to fall for this set, because what we're going to do now is we're going to narrow this down a lot. We're going to take and we're going to create a V here. We're going to tell this animal where we want him to step. We're going to block this off over here so he can't come in from the side. And now the important part. We've got him narrowed down from coming in left to right, but we want to tell him where to step. We want him to put his foot right here. And you can do that with a cat like you can with no other species. Coyote, like I said, ain't going to fall for this. We're going to put a branch across here with a twig sticking up. What that twig does sticking up is it keeps that cat from stepping on that branch. Cats are real big about stepping on logs, walking on logs, stepping on sticks. We don't want him stepping on the stick. We want him stepping right here, right in the center of the pan. So we're going to fence him off. And now we're going to grab another branch, and you can do this two ways. You can take a couple of sticks, stick them up in the ground, or you can lay a branch down flat on the ground. But like I said, they like to step on those. You know, they like to step on these sticks. They'll step on them and they'll miss your pan. So we're really going to guide this guy down. We're going to take a couple sticks, we're going to stick them straight up in the air, or you can use a stick like this. It's got a natural stick sticking up, but we're going to tell that cat where we want him to stand. We'll just put a couple more in here. And I know it looks goofy, but this works, guys. This is proven. It works. They're not going to step on a stick poking onto the ground. It hurts their pad. It hurts the paw. So now we've got that set. We're done there as far as we've got our V, we've got our stick sticking up out of the ground, and that cat, he knows where to stand. The proof's right there. So we show him where we want him to stick his foot, and we create that setup for him. Now we're going to take, and I'm going to try to put a dirt hole in here, and we may not be able to get one in because of how hard this ground is. We'll just put a little hole there, and it's not much of a hole at all, guys, to be honest, but we don't need one. This isn't a coyote, this is a cat we're talking about here. We're going to take our bait. Can't fit my trowel in this little jar, so I got to carry around a spoon for these 8-ounce jars. So we're going to take that spoon, put the bait in the back. So we've got the bait in that's not even really a dirt hole, guys. It's just bait in the back of a cubby set is what we're going to call that. Now we're going to take this little branch and just cover that up a little bit, and then we're going to grab a little wad of grass. Do the old ball of grass. And we're going to stick that under that piece of bark on top of that bait. Like I said, we're just creating a ball with our grass here, guys. So we've got our little mouse ball. We're going to set that on top of our bait. Okay, so we've got our mouse ball on our bait. We're going to grab our lure. And again, this is my Deep Creek winter cat collector here. And we're going to put just a little bit of that on this bark. And now, guys, this set's done. And trapping cats is not like trapping coyotes at all. This is messy, it's very direct. We're telling that animal what we want to do, and that cat's going to do what we want him to do when he comes and works this set. That's just the nature of the beast that we're after here, and take advantage of it. I know it looks a little sloppy, it just looks, it doesn't look like you would normally do a set, I guess is what I'm getting at. But that's what works with cats, and it takes a little more time to put in a cat set, but you're going to catch them when you run a set like that if you're in cats. So good luck on them, and we're going to go ahead and get on out of here.
First off, I want to thank you for buying the video and taking the time to watch it. I hope you picked up some techniques and ideas as far as how to trap cats, where to trap cats, and how to keep them after you catch them. One thing I do want to caution you or remind you of is that when you're trapping cats, if you're real familiar with trapping coons or fox or coyotes, when you can catch quite a few every day and have a real high success ratio. When you're trapping cats, it's a lower volume deal. It takes a lot of persistence and a lot of traps on the ground to catch those cats, to put up big numbers. Unless you're fortunate enough to be in an area where you just have a super high density of cats, that's not something we're blessed with here. It takes a lot of work to put up those big numbers. If you're willing to put in the work, the time, and the effort, you're going to catch those cats, those guys. Just keep after it. Keep running those lines, keep those sets working, and you'll catch those cats eventually. Remember a couple of key things when you're trapping cats. Make sure you're in an area where there are cats. Remember, there aren't cats everywhere. Find the cricks, the rim rocks, the country where they exist, the sagebrush country. The second thing you want to be looking for is the food source there? You need to make sure that you've got the food source. You need turkeys, you need rabbits.
Those are the two things you need a lot of to have a lot of cats. If you've got a lot of turkeys and rabbits, you're in the right direction. One thing I would highly encourage you to do before season or after season looking for next year is go into those areas where you think there's cats and look at those areas in the snow. Look for tracks, see what you've got. If you can find their tracks in the snow and you can find some consistency with the tracks, you're in the right areas to go set your trap line either that fall or the following year. But make sure you're in cats before you go target cats. Don't chase a ghost. If you're in an area where there aren't any cats, you aren't going to catch them. Those are going to be the key things you're looking at when you're trapping cats. But good luck to you guys. I hope you put some cats in your shed and have a great season.